now, what about fresh cod? Well, here's some fresh cod, not the dried state, but the fresh that you buy in the grocery store from the fishmonger. And I'm going to put that now into a pot of water, boiling water. Just going to take the fresh fish and put it right in, and I'm just going to cook this until the fish flakes easily. Get that out of the way, and let me get this out of the way. It starts with something called farro. And this is farro. It's a wheat grain. Now, you could find this in an Italian specialty store. You may have to order it through mail order, but this is an ancient grain, a wheat grain. It looks very much like rice. And actually, the Romans were eating this in ancient Rome to beef up the army, the legions of people who went out in the field. So this is very, very nutritious. And to begin cooking the farro, we want to start with some leeks. So here we have fresh leeks. And you know, when you bring leeks home, they can be pretty dirty. So you cut off the root end. And now we want to start our pan going here. We want to get our flame under some butter. And in this pot, I've got about 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And we want to put the leeks into the butter. We also want some carrot. So here we have carrots already diced up. That goes in. Let me get a spoon to mix that around. And we want our farro. So that's going to go in. Let me turn the heat just up a little higher on that now. So now the farro goes in. So it looks like a lot, right? But believe me, when you eat this, you're going to ask for seconds. You need to put your fork into the fish, and if it just flakes very easily without really falling apart into little particles, you know that it's almost cooked. And I can tell just by looking at this that it just needs a couple more minutes to go. So I'm going to leave the cover on that, put the heat up, and go back and give this another quick stir. Now this is looking good. It's got a little sizzle to it. And now we have to add some chicken broth to this. And this is where the name now comes in, farotto, because if you've ever made risotto, you know that you need to add the chicken stock a little bit at a time, allowing the rice, and in this case the farro, to absorb every addition of liquid. So we put a little bit of the liquid in, we stir, and allow all of this to absorb that liquid before we add any more. So you've got to come back and forth to this. So now we'll let that go, and let's see how we're doing here. Move this out of the way. Check the fish again, because we don't want to overcook it now. Let me see. Take a look here. And it is done. So I am going to take it out. Take it out onto a cutting board. And all we have to do is use a couple slotted spoons. If it breaks, that's okay, because guess what we're going to be doing with this? We're going to be flaking this up. And you see how fresh that is and how wonderful that looks. Get it all out. And this will be going into the farotto at the very end of the cooking process. So once you have it all out, then all you want to do is take a fork and just flake it up and let it sit until you're ready to add it to the farotto. So let me go back and see where we are. I think we need to add a little bit more chicken stock. So here's our second addition. Stir that around. And I've got one cooking for you in this pot that I started a little earlier. So let me take a look and see how that's doing. Well, we've got a lot of steam, and that looks good. And I just stir that around. You see that's just a little bit soupy. Now I'm going to add some white wine to this. We don't want this to be real dry. It should have a little bit of moisture to it. And then, to really pick up all that flavor, a little bit of lemon juice goes in. Just stir that around. And now some parsley. I'm going to shut the heat off on that now, because that is done. Beautiful. I wish you could be here to smell this. It smells wonderful. So now, let me take this over because we have to put in the cod. So there it is. And here's all that wonderful codfish. It goes right into the pot. And we can do a nice mix of that